Hey, how's it going? It's Juan Galt, and I'm here with Macey Tomlin, psychedelic activist.
Hola.
And we want to talk to you guys about a kind of important topic around some of the unknown risks, the risks that are not really talked about very much about doing strong psychedelics like ayahuasca or, a variety of other ones. Do you want to kind of lead the way there? And like, what are some of the risks or concerns that you have that you think people need to be aware of and be prepared for dealing with if they do heavy things like ayahuasca, heavy psychedelics?
Yeah, well, ayahuasca is not like any other psychedelic. So, you can take mushrooms by yourself and it could quite possibly be that you have a bad trip, right? And sometimes it can lead it can lead to traumatization in a sense, to have a bad trip, though you still come out of it. With ayahuasca, though, it's a little bit different, because you are going into a completely different dimension, a completely different state of mind. You are really delving into your subconscious mind. And ayahuasca does reprogram the brain. They've done studies where they show like the receptors and how they move. They do different things, and things are connecting with other things in ayahuasca, which can be very, very healing. At the same time, though, a lot of people are going to go for shamanism, or have gone into shamanism, and they get more enamored with their title instead of actually caring about the mental health of individuals. At the same time, the plant, it's rare that you find the vine of ayahuasca, in its natural place anymore. So the rise in demand for ayahuasca is clear. And the problem with this is that most people are going into it doing a one-time ceremony thing, in a one-time psychedelic trip, like acid or mushrooms. But ayahuasca is not for that. You need to do multiple different ceremonies within like a 10-day period. You're supposed to do up to 6 ceremonies, sometimes even up to 7 ceremonies. You need to have a shaman that knows what they're doing. And a lot of the times, people in America and in other parts of the world really don't know what they're doing. This can lead to a psychotic break. And so when you do only one ceremony, you end up getting this information. You're seeing your problems, or seeing how life is in a completely different perception. And the task then is to apply the lessons that you've learned to your daily practice. And when you only do one ceremony, it can be risky because you're not taught that. You're not on a diet. You're supposed to be on a very strict diet, with no salt. This is a very sacred practice, and it's not being used in a sacred way. And you can find yourself in trouble afterwards. Some people even take their own lives after doing something as heavy as ayahuasca. So there are risks to it that need to be talked about, because this is not a game, this is not a toy. And if you're thinking about going into ayahuasca, or you're thinking about that, it might be a good decision, you need to research shamans. You need to find a shaman that has an an excellent review, 5 stars. It can't be anything under that, because as I said, things can go terribly wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't done ayahuasca myself, but I studied psychology for a while, and I was sort of I was being spent about maybe 6 7 years just doing talk therapy myself and therapy with other people, and just really learning about psychology. And my one of the impressions that I've gotten from hanging out with you guys and hearing about the ayahuasca experience is that it can be very like people come trying to heal their or solve certain emotional issues, right? Certain maybe unhappiness, or they feel stuck and they want ayahuasca to help them get to the next level. And my concern for a while, and I've sort of talked to you a little bit about this, is that if people are stuck because of maybe some of the relationships that they have, or the shitty job, or the city that they're in, or some other environmental constraint, or maybe their habits are not very good, they're not eating very healthy or not doing exercise, and so they get go away from that environment, do ayahuasca, get this vast, powerful knowledge, and then they go back to that environment. That's going to be very jarring. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we're seeing happening, is that people go back right back into the same environment that they had left to go do ayahuasca in. I also see that it is a very, very popular, and I don't like to call her a psychedelic because this plant is, and I call the plant a her because there is a feminine energy to this plant. There is a very motherly, nurturing energy. But I see a lot of liberals, especially liberals, going to try this new medicine. I don't like to call it a psychedelic drug because I don't feel like that's what this medicine is. And the problem with this is that when you follow a certain political stance, if you believe in the state at all, you have a lot of cognitive dissonance, right? It's hard to break out of that shell. Ayahuasca, all this medicine does is show you the truth. And if you're not ready to face the truth, you can land in hell. In fact, at the retreat that I went, there were a few Hillary supporters, and I noticed with them that they did not progress. They would get stuck, and I had a very hard time facing things. Now, not to say that the plant is still not healing for them, because it does heal other parts of their subconscious. It gets them to connect and whatnot. But this medicine, I truly feel, is for a voluntarist mindset, because Mother Nature is of a voluntarist mindset. We obviously see how government is very violent and controls and kills and destroys, and Mother Nature really isn't into that. So when you believe in something so violent as the state, it's going to be harder and harder for you to face the truth. So, and if you're not ready to face the truth, even if you're a voluntarist, if you still have some cognitive dissonance, if you don't feel ready to do ayahuasca, you're not ready to do ayahuasca. And that's the conclusion I'm starting to come to.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if there's anybody out there that gets the sense that ayahuasca is some kind of recreational drug.
Yeah.
But it doesn't sound like it to me at all. I mean, what would you speak to that?
Yeah, this medicine is not for recreational purposes at all. This is very serious. Like I said, it is not a game. It is not a toy. You are really, you are seeing your subconscious in it, and that is a big place. And it has a million different avenues you can go down, and there are so many layers that you need to shed. And one of the biggest conflicts I have with other people is they want to self-shaman because they can't afford to go to Peru or other places. And yes, ayahuasca is expensive, especially with the rise in demand. The prices are rising. Even I'm having a hard time getting to the retreat because the prices keep rising. But people want to do it themselves. You can order ayahuasca online, which is very, very, very dangerous. You are opening doors. And this is something that is hard for me to cover until you do ayahuasca and you see this for yourself. You can be skeptical about it. But there are doors that you open, and that can lead to a psychotic break. So the biggest problem that I see is, or the biggest conflict I have with people is that they think that they can self-shaman. And of course, egotistically, we want to have something open to us. We want to have that availability, that it's open for us to grab at any point. So people want to have the opportunity to self-shaman themselves. And so people will ask me about that. And I will say, no, it is not a good to self-shaman because things can go very dark. In Peru, they have a word called shitana. And they say that with everything in life, there's a light and there's a dark side. I have seen the dark side of ayahuasca. And when you don't have help, and especially in the United States, it's so taboo, right? So when you go through these psychological effects of doing ayahuasca, especially if you don't have a shaman there to explain, hey, this is what's going on with you, you're going through a readjustment period, because the ceremony is really just the first step. It's what comes afterwards that's actually the most important, whether or not you integrate what you've learned into your life. But when you don't have a shaman that's helping you go through this process of understanding this, when you don't have the tools you need to go through life with the lessons that you've learned, again, it can lead to a psychotic break. So self-shamanism is incredibly, incredibly dangerous. And there will be people who promote this. Now, when I go through these conflicts, somebody will go on, and counteract what I have just said. And what scares me about this is that people, like I said, want this available to them all the time. So when somebody says, no, you can still self-shaman, they're going to go against what what I've said. And I have experience with this. I've seen the dark side because I've done a ceremony irresponsibly. And my first ceremony almost led to my own suicide, my own death. And so the reason why I take such precaution with this medicine is because I understand the potential that it has to heal, but it also can be deadly. So, and when I say deadly, I mean for your psyche. So you have to be careful. You have to be very, very selective of who you're choosing to help you with this medicine. And also, you need to be wary of where you are mentally as well.
Yeah. I mean, I've been through that too, like to the point where you just want to just jump off a roof or something like that, and it's a really dark place to be. And if anybody's been there, I mean, it's that it's a really hard place to be. If you ever do get there, I mean, there's some basic things that you can do that are known scientifically in psychology groups to help you get out. So first of all, go outside, get some sunlight, and do some exercise. Just go for a run, go do some pull-ups, whatever you do. Go do some exercise because that gets your body moving again. There's something about that is sort of known. It's like one of the things that therapists recommend, and you can look it up, and it just gets you to revitalizes you. The other one is, if the people around you, if you don't feel like the people around you care, or the people around you are not somebody that they're not responsive to your pain, like you're really sort of suffering, they don't respond. Like, ask on Facebook, ask on Twitter, ask for help somewhere. There's always somebody that's willing to say, listen, I'll hear you out for a couple of hours. I mean, call us, call her, call me. I'm legit. Like, I'll give you half an hour to talk to you. Yeah. And there's a lot of good people out there that will just pay attention. And I mean, half the battle for me when I went through this was just having somebody to hear my story and hear my pain and hear the sort of environment that I was in, and to say, yes, your feelings are they're legitimate. They're telling you something about what's in your general environment, and help me understand those feelings. And so maybe do some look up how to deal with intense emotions, stuff like that. And I mean, just consider that it sounds like a grieving kind of medicine to me, right? It's you're speeding up through the grieving process, and it's amazing. But the grieving process is not a party. It's a grieving process, right? So.
Yes, and I think, I've talked to some people who even, they want the medicine on hand because they are feeling suicidal, and this is dangerous, obviously. If you're feeling suicidal, ayahuasca is not a good decision in that moment, especially if you're planning on self-shamaning yourself. That is the most dangerous thing that you could do to yourself. You are actually putting yourself more at risk. And like Juan said, I would really like to be, if somebody has gone through an ayahuasca ceremony, or just, like you said, having feelings of feelings of suicide, to reach out, because there are people that will listen. There are people who have been through that. And really, suicide isn't wanting to really die. It's wanting the pain to stop. And what people get confused is that they think when you kill yourself, the pain will stop. But really, then you're just dead. So there are no feelings anymore. You're not feeling good either. So I know how hard it is to pull yourself out of that. But eating healthy, like taking the proper steps, you will notice a big difference when you start to love yourself, when you start to give yourself love. That's when you'll notice that these things, and really listen to yourself as well. These emotions are trying to tell you something big, and it's usually meaning that you need to make a change in life.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, sometimes just going to a friend's house, like just get away for a little bit and change environment, right? Because that'll help you change your habits as well. Change your environment, then you got to start building new habits, and that can be a big opportunity for you to try a few different things. And yeah, I mean, the other thing, I mean, there's usually sort of free help, like lines that you can call and be like, emergency kind of mental health lines, and like those people are really helpful. Like, they're trained to help you kind of deal with certain those kind of situations. They're very effective. So just putting out the tools that are out there that are useful. Do you want to talk a little bit about maybe kind of the rabbit holes that you go down when you go through this medicine?
Yeah. So ayahuasca is it's not like a one-time journey, like I've said, and then it's over and you're healed. We as human beings have very many, many layers. And a lot of people talk to me when they talk to me about ayahuasca. They're usually afraid. They're like, "Well, I don't want to purge. I don't want to throw up because that's a big thing." And I look forward actually to throwing up when I'm in ceremony, because you're purging out something that, some trauma or something that no longer serves you. But what I tell people is what you're purging out is the state, right? So, but at the same time, we have ego. And so when something bad happens to us, or we have a traumatic event happen, we build what I refer to as ego are these walls that we put up. And these walls are put up subconsciously. We don't even, it's totally subconscious. We might not even know that they're happening. But when these walls go up, they're walls of protection. And unfortunately, though, it can disconnect us from ourselves and from others. So this is a layering, and the layers never end. You could take ayahuasca every single day for the rest of your life and still have something to heal at the end of it. So this is not just like a one-time process thing. At the same time, this does not get any easier. And I want to make this very, very clear for people who want to heal with ayahuasca. Like I said, the healing potential is wonderful, and I don't want to steer people away from the medicine. I just want it to be respected. I want this medicine to have the respect that she deserves. This is not a game. This is not a toy. So when you take ayahuasca, know that you are going down a very, very deep rabbit hole that never ends. It is infinite amount of knowledge. Your subconscious is a huge place, and it becomes disassembled so you can understand yourself better. But you want to take extreme precautions when you do this as well. Meditation is the biggest thing that has helped me. That's actually the main thing that I have been focusing on after I've done 13 ceremonies. I'm about to go back to Peru to do 48 ceremonies. And meditation and the power of prayer, which I never believed in God. But the term God has changed a little bit for me. It's, to me, it's a big source that I talk to, and it's an interconnecting with everything on this planet and so beyond. But meditation has become the most important and crucial thing to learn to breathe, to focus on that breath and take everything in. If you're going to train, you're going to use the medicine of ayahuasca, meditation is the best thing that you can apply to your life and your daily practice.
Yeah, so if you're embarking in this journey, self-knowledge journey, right, or you want to get to the next level, I mean, it's a great thing to do. I mean, in my experience, there's a few for me, there's been a few big lessons that I've had to learn over the years. But once you learn them, you can't unlearn them, and it's great because it makes your life so much easier. You just release energy that's been pent up, trying to contain this energy that's sort of this stress, this trauma. Once you process it and you release it and you grieve it, suddenly you have more energy, and it's fantastic. And but there's been some tools that I've used that are really good, and I'll put the links below, right? One of them is internal family systems therapy, and it's a sort of kind of holistic, relational sort of therapeutic model where you look at yourself as multiple parts that you kind of talk to and try to understand what they're trying to do for you, how they're trying to help you, and what trauma they're trying to help you from, because sometimes they get stuck in the past and it just gets really confusing. And it's a great therapeutic model. There's therapists, very good therapists, that are working with this model specifically, and it's sort of like a CBT related to cognitive behavioral therapy sort of model as well. So it's very good. Check that out. And yeah, I mean, you started a crowdfunding campaign to help you sort of embark in this journey and bring a great deal of value to people. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I'm planning on I would like to have this up and running by 2023 or 2024. I'm creating a donation-based ayahuasca retreat where people can it's more accessible to people, because I believe that's crucial. Spirituality is not for sale. And so I feel with a donation base, it gives the people more freedom to come to a place that is for a trustworthy person too. I'm doing all I can to go to Peru to make sure that I am, under a strict diet, I'm under strict teachings, because I do not want to put anybody in danger. And that's, that's what we see. That's the unfortunate truth about ayahuasca, is that people are more concerned about making money than they are about somebody's mental health. I'm the opposite. I care more about somebody's mental health and where they are mentally, if they are, even if they are mentally capable to handle ayahuasca. And if they are, I want them to be under extreme care. I want to be able to take care of somebody the best I can. So I won't even conduct an ayahuasca ceremony until I know that I am absolutely ready. But I have to undergo a lot of training for this. This is not something that I just go for 3 months for, and I call myself a shaman, which some people do this, and they start administering the drug out to people, the medicine, and that's really, really, really dangerous. So I want to create something that is, what's the word I'm looking for? You are under extreme care.
And holistic, right? Like
holistic. You are on a diet. You are on a dieta with another plant, and you really, really get the healing that you need, and it's easily accessible. So because of rising prices, because of high demand for ayahuasca, obviously the prices have risen, and I have fallen short about $2,000 to start an apprenticeship. I started a crowdfunder, and I've already made about a quarter of that price, thanks to my community, the people who actually support and really believe in what I'm doing. I'm obviously very passionate about this. I talk about ayahuasca more than any other subject. I believe that the healing potential is so immense, and I really, really want this medicine to be used properly. At the same time, I want to preserve the plants. So my goal as well is to become an ayahuasca farmer and grow the vine as well. So we're actually cultivating it here instead of buying it from some other source. We have the medicine here on hand, and it is also, just as the people are taken care of, the plant is taken care of just as well.
All right, so if you'd like to see that happen, if you'd like to sort of help create such a space, check out her GoFundMe campaign. Links below. And, thank you for kind of doing this. And I'm really fascinated, and I love it that so many people are so interested in upgrading their self-knowledge and upgrading their spiritual life. It's so essential. And, I mean, in a sense, I had kind of lost hope in humanity. It's kind of one of the reasons I like Bitcoin, because Bitcoin doesn't care what you feel if it works, right? But I'm really happy to see this wave of people that are interested in this. And there's a great deal of hope and potential. You just have to kind of be educated about some of the risks and be prepared to deal with them, right? So,
yeah, there are pros and cons to everything, so you really definitely want to do the research before you just dive into something, especially when it comes to psychedelics.
Awesome. All right. Thanks, everybody, for watching, and you have an awesome day. Thanks. Yeah, so if you want to make that happen, I always start with like all this energy, and it's like tone it down. Yeah.